Ronin Mode Unmasked. Chapter 23, Rivalries and Red Lines. Up until now, I've never mentioned the name of Deanna's ex-boyfriend. And I'm still not going to. This is not his story. Let bro actually go out and do something in this world that matters first, then maybe I'll tell people his name. But I will say this. Back then, he felt like a rival to me. Not just some random dude. Not just some guy hanging around in the background. A rival. And honestly, in a different life, me and the dude probably would have been friends if it wasn't for Deanna. That is the crazy part about certain people. Under different circumstances, you might actually like them. You might actually respect them. You might even laugh with them. But one person comes into the middle of it and suddenly everything turns into tension, jealousy, ego, and bad timing. Not long after the whole Amber and Dee birthday situation, bro got insanely jealous over how close me and Deanna were getting. And honestly, I knew they were fighting about it. Because I could hear them through the walls right next door to my apartment. That was the kind of place we lived in back then. Paper-thin walls. No privacy. Just chaos leaking from one apartment into the next like the whole building itself was tired of everybody's bullshit. And I honestly think that jealousy was a huge reason their relationship started going downhill. Well, that and the fact that, let's be real, Deanna was fucking crazy. Everybody knew it. Including me. I just chose not to fully accept it because at the end of the day, me and Dee were extremely close friends. Especially toward the end. Not long after Dee's birthday, I came home one day and was trying to unlock my apartment door when her boyfriend suddenly stormed out of their apartment looking pissed off. Him and Deanna had obviously just gotten into another massive fight about something. Who knows what this one was even about? But the dude was mad dogging me hard. The kind of look where you instantly know something is about to happen. Then he walked right up into my face. At that exact moment, my brain instantly switched gears. I already knew where things were heading. Part of my mind was thinking, elbow to the face? Knee to the groin? Take him down fast before he swings first? But honestly, what I really wanted to do was avoid seriously hurting him. Because even after all the drama, I knew if I really fucked him up, Deanna would probably end up pissed at me for it. So what I actually planned on doing was sidestepping him and catching him in a rear naked choke. Just enough to stop the situation without permanently hurting the dude. And I knew the technique worked because I had already done it to my cousin Pizza once in real life. But that's another story. Right before I moved, though, I caught something out of the corner of my eye. German was coming up the stairwell toward my apartment. And the second he saw what was happening, he instantly understood the situation without me even saying a word. Before I could react, German stepped in and shoved Deanna's boyfriend so hard the dude literally flew backward and slammed into the apartment building wall. My jaw hit the floor. The whole thing happened so fast it almost felt unreal. The dude sat there rubbing the back of his head, looking completely stunned. Then he looked at me. Then looked at German. And without another word, he turned around and ran back inside his apartment like a bitch. True story. That really happened. Ask German. He'll tell you. And that moment stayed with me. Not because of the violence. Not even because the dude got folded into a wall. It stayed with me because of what it meant. Because after that, I already knew the energy between me and him had crossed into something ugly. Something that was never going to go back to normal. And after seeing Dee's ex-boyfriend all over Dawn's profile and vice versa, I already knew the truth. They had probably been seeing each other secretly for God only knows how long. And maybe Deanna already knew but didn't want to tell me to spare me the pain. That realization hit me like a cold knife. Not a loud pain. Not some dramatic movie shit. Just a sharp, quiet sickness in the chest. The kind that makes the room feel smaller. The kind that makes every breath feel like it has to pass through something broken. I tried to sleep that night, but I tossed and turned on the couch until sunrise. My body was tired, but my mind was wide awake, chewing on the same ugly truth over and over like it could somehow make it hurt less if I kept repeating it. I only got maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep. I remember my aunt waking me up and asking if I wanted some coffee. I stretched, yawned, and said, "Yeah, please." I chilled at my aunt's place for a few hours. I was only working part-time at the moment, so it wasn't like I needed to be at work or anything. But I still couldn't relax. I spent most of the day going over the whole situation in my head. Dawn. Dee's ex-boyfriend. And now this new person I had never even met before. Sophie. I'm not going to lie, Sophie from Phoenix sounded like a breath of fresh air compared to all the bullshit I was already dealing with here in Texas. But I was skeptical. I had been burned too many times at that point. Honestly, I barely trusted anybody anymore. Then my cell phone rang. Back then, I had Dead Souls by 9 Inch Nails from the Crow soundtrack as my ringtone. The hook was, "They keep calling me." I always got a cool reaction from people whenever it went off in public. It was one of those ringtones that made people look up like, "Damn, okay." "Hello?" I said. "Hey, Paul. How's it going?" Dawn said. "I'm okay," I replied. At that point, I was wondering if I should confront her right there on the phone about Dee's ex-boyfriend. Or if I should wait until later. Because part of me already knew this wasn't going to stay simple for long. Dawn asked, "Do you have any plans for today? Do you want to hang out?" I was like, "No, not really. I'm just hanging out at my aunt's house, chilling." She sounded surprised. "Oh, I didn't even know you had family in town." "Yeah, they just moved here like a month ago." "That's awesome, dude," she replied. "Anyway, do you want to go to the mall? I still haven't finished all my Christmas shopping yet." At that point in time, it was only like 2 days before Christmas, and honestly, I hadn't really bought anything myself yet. The only gift I had gotten so far was for German. A copy of The Legend of Zelda, Collector's Edition for the Nintendo GameCube. And I hadn't even made up my mind yet if I was going to get Dawn anything. But as of right then, it was not looking good for her honestly. "Yeah," I said. "If you want, you can come pick me up from my aunt's house. I'll send you the address." "Cool," Dawn said. "I'll see you soon." Then she hung up the phone. Ronin Mode Unmasked. Chapter 24, The Pull Apart. A couple hours later, Dawn pulled up to my aunt's house. She had gotten lost on the way and had to call back to get more directions. Dawn always got lost back then when she drove. We did have GPS back then, but not everybody had it. It was only in top-end luxury cars or super high-end cell phones. And I'm sorry, but me and everybody else in this story were just not that fancy back then. I was hesitant to tell Dawn to come inside to meet my aunt and the rest of the family, partly because I was still upset from the night before and partly because I did not want my aunt doing the same witchcraft she had done on Deanna and ending up telling me that Dawn was really the devil. I already knew that at this point. So I just met Dawn in her car, and we drove off. But we didn't get far. Only a few blocks away from my aunt's house, I told Dawn to pull over. She was like, "Why? What's wrong?" I told her, "Just pull over, please." She complied and put the car in park, then looked at me with those crazy beautiful eyes I remember from that day. They look more green than blue. That detail still sticks in my head. Because sometimes when a moment is about to go bad, you remember the smallest things with the most clarity. The way the light hit the windshield. The way the engine kept humming while everything inside me was getting ready to split open. The way I could feel my own heartbeat in my throat. Look, Dawn, I can't do this. And she stared back at me, surprised. What? Why? What's wrong? Tell me. Dawn, I took your advice and finally made a new Facebook account. And last night I was going through your profile, looking at all your pictures and stuff. I even saw the photo we took together at work. She said, I know. I saw your comments today. She smiled. They were sweet comments. For a second I could almost feel how innocent it all might have looked to her. But I wasn't in that place anymore. I wasn't looking at Facebook like some harmless digital scrapbook. I was looking at it like evidence. Like a crime scene. Like all the little pieces of my life had finally gotten together just long enough to tell the truth. Dawn, I said, I also saw Matt. Dee's ex-boyfriend all over your profile. And when I clicked on his page, you were all over it. Can you please explain that to me? Her smile dropped. Just like that. Gone. And for a second she just stared down at the floor. The car got quiet in that dead way a room gets quiet right before somebody tells the truth or lies. I could tell that she had not anticipated any of this, and now she was starting to regret telling me to make my own Facebook account. That was the thing about the internet back then. People thought it was just pictures and comments and little digital bullshit. But once you started pulling on the thread, the whole lie could come apart in your hands. Look, Paul, I'm sorry you saw all of that. I honestly forgot. But it's nothing to worry about. We're just friends. How long have you been seeing him, Dawn? Was it right after New Year's? Is that why it took you almost a year just to call me and apologize? She said nothing. She just kept staring out the driver's side window, avoiding eye contact. And that hurt more than the answer would have. Because silence tells its own truth. It stands there in the car with you. It breathes with you. It watches you slowly realize you've been the last to know. Look, Dawn, it's a free country. And it's your life. It's not like we're married or anything. But why are you trying to fuck up my life all over again? Then she finally looked back at me. I could see a small tear forming in her eyes. I don't talk to him anymore, Paul. It's been months. That's a fucking lie, I shouted angrily. The last comment he left was only a few weeks ago. And right there, something in me snapped. Not in some big movie way. Not with some music cue or dramatic slow motion. It was just this ugly, hot burst in my chest like I had been holding my breath for too long and finally ran out of air. Turn the car around, Dawn, and take me back to my aunt's house. Or better yet, let me off right here. I'll walk back. I opened the passenger door to step out. Paul, please don't go. Let's just talk about this. We can work it out. But I was already halfway gone inside myself. I slammed the door and started walking back toward my aunt's house. And as I walked, all I could feel was that familiar mix of heat and heartbreak. Because the worst part was not even being angry. The worst part was knowing deep down that I had already been trying to hold together a story that was coming apart right in my hands. And that was the moment I realized something else too. Some betrayals do not hit like a gunshot. They hit like winter air. Slow. Quiet. Cold. 1000% facts.